My name is Kelsey Mitchell. I'll be going through this with you. And we also have from the Zone team, Marshall Butler with us.
Hey, everyone.
And we also on our team, Sheila Bethel and Susan Porter. Those are your Rotary Public Image Coordinators for Zone 34. So first and foremost, we want to talk a little bit about video. And the first question I have to ask you really is, are you keeping up with video? So video is everywhere right now. And by 2019, global consumer internet video traffic will account for 80% of all consumer internet traffic. Facebook generates 8 billion video views on average per day. And YouTube reports mobile video consumption rises 100% every single year. 55% of people are watching videos every single day. Those are some pretty crazy statistics. And it's just something that video is absolutely everywhere, and it's something that everybody is using. So my question is, are you guys using video for your clubs and for your districts? And I forgot to mention, if you do have any questions throughout the entire presentation, feel free to send them to myself or Marshall, and we can answer them as we go along. So we're operating in a world where a good video can lead to a massive social following. I absolutely love this quote. I think it's funny and also extremely true. If you think about some of the people that have become famous on YouTube and those kind of things, it's all just one good video that gets them started. So looking at the most watched Facebook video of all time, actually racked up 469 million views.
And what was that a video of? Was that a cat riding a Roomba or a Zumba?
Probably.
Or it was a music video, I think. Yeah. So yeah, pretty much it's incredible what gets views on Facebook and on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. I know the Holderness family, which is one of my favorite. Their family went viral and became famous basically on their silly Christmas videos.
Yeah, they've got some mad video skills. I think Dad, he's a advertising exec, and really great videos, great music, great sound, good stuff.
Yeah, their original video was on Christmas Jammies, where they did this like little kind of rap and talked about their year. But I think about that video and I think about how that relates to Rotary and things that we could do. At the end of our year, there's certainly some fun videos and things that we could be doing. But I look at some of the things that they do in their videos, and they add images and music to make sure that the video is enhanced and it's fun and entertaining. Sometimes they do shorter videos, and shorter videos are better for sharing on social media. If you're taking a video from a phone, one of the tips that I've heard is always turn your phone horizontal. That way you don't have those black bars on the side, and it really takes up the full screen. But also kind of a tip, make sure you're mindful of the lighting and the background noise when you're taking videos, and keeping in mind the music rights. Make sure you're not, taking any music that you don't have the rights to use, and being in the moment and being authentic in your videos is extremely important.
Yeah, I think the most and one of the most important things about a video, whether it's just some sort of off the cuff, pick up my phone and record a moment in time, or something a little more planned, it's they all allow folks to have a personal connection with you, your club, or whatever it is that you're talking about. They get to it's much more impactful than written communication, because they can see those nonverbal cues. With my own company, we do a lot more with video nowadays in terms of providing client updates and letting folks know what's going on with their project, because they can see our faces and see those nonverbal cues, and it just allows you to have that personal connection and really empathize with the people and want to be a part of whatever it is they're talking about.
Absolutely. One thing too to mention, taking video doesn't have to be some huge production. So if you look at this next slide, it's funny because you have these two very different appearances of how you take video. But the first one $30,000 digital camera. Yeah, that's great, but it absolutely is not necessary. You can totally take videos with a $600 cell phone or even less. You can showcase your event and project in a way that really works for you and for your club. So trying not to make things, overproduced or make such a big deal about it. You really can make some really incredible videos just on a smartphone.
Yeah, this photo was actually taken at a district conference, and they live streamed the conference so that folks that couldn't make it to the event could actually watch along on Facebook. And then they did rent the high-end digital camera and use that essentially to capture the speakers and the talks so that content could be chopped up and used later on in additional videos or just kind of promoting future conferences. So and plus it was used for projecting the speakers up on the screens behind the stage. But the $600 cell phone was instrumental in allowing people that either couldn't make it to the conference or people from around the world were able to participate and see some of the speakers at that district conference. And there were some great speakers at the conference, folks like Jennifer Jones, John Huco, John Germ, Sylvia Whitlock. So it was some great content, and it allowed that content to be shared around the world. So use a tripod stand and a $600 cell phone, and expand your audience and let folks see what Rotary is all about. But there's an even easier way to do that, right, Kelsey?
There is an even easier way to do that. These are the tools. These are the tools that I personally use that I think you need. Just a smartphone in your arm. I think this slide is so funny, but it's so true. I mean, it's really simplistic in terms of getting something out there that keeps you relevant, that showcases your club or your district. And it's as simple as getting someone to hold the phone. They don't have to be complex, but a key thing that I always like to do is have a rough outline of what I'd like to get across. For me, if I don't have like notes or something, I'll completely forget what I'm about to say. So I really try to make sure that I always have an outline of what I want to get across and the few questions or things that I want to make sure I hit on. But then, go ahead, Marshall.
I was going to say, the easiest thing is just to remember if you're going to do something like this, just come up with 3 main points that you want to talk about or 3 things that you want to say. Anything beyond 3, you're probably the video is probably going to be a little bit longer than it needs to be. Again, think about when you're doing these videos, attention spans are pretty short nowadays, and people really don't want to watch anything longer, believe it or not, than 90 seconds or 120 seconds. So if you can come up with 3 main bullets or ideas or questions, and record that, then that's a pretty good start to creating some video.
Absolutely. So a lot of, what we have access to as Rotarians too is other people. And so I always say, find the people in your clubs and in your district that really have experience in this. If you look at, people that own green screens, which is probably not super common, but I actually do know somebody that owns a green screen, believe it or not. So, that's something I feel like you can really, really utilize those people. Others that, work in production companies or that have studios. There's colleges, like the technical college in my area has a studio, and the president is a Rotarian. So you can use those people in your clubs to kind of help create some of these things. People that have marketing backgrounds, those people I feel like are extremely valuable in our Rotary clubs. And also Rotaractors. I have found that Rotaractors are extremely well-versed in social media and younger Rotarians. And so they too also know, a lot of the tips and tricks. But if you don't know somebody with a green screen, there's actually an app you can get. I think it's like $2.99, $1.99, something like that. It's just called Green Screen, and it's really cool. I've actually recently just started using it, and it can take out anything. It doesn't necessarily have to be green, but you record a video with the background, and it just kind of plugs and plays for you. So it's really helpful. And if you don't have a production company, there's also tools like Viva Video and iMovie that can help you put some videos together. And it'll also give you templates and kind of storyboards to work off of too. So that way you're not kind of starting from ground zero.
That's right. And, it's funny, you can pick up a green screen on Amazon for like $60. So if that's something that you did want to do, It's pretty easy, and a lot of the standard video editing tools that you'll find on your computers now have the capability to. It's called chroma key, to go in and take out that green and replace it with any image in the background. The most important thing when you're doing something like a green screen is make sure the lighting behind the subject is pretty even. If a shadow shows up, sometimes it can get a little wonky. But definitely make sure the lighting is good. And like I said, for a $60 investment, you can put a big green screen up on a wall and do some pretty neat stuff. I think, yeah, colleges that have video studios are great ideas, especially if there's some sort of a Rotaract connection. Rotaractors, like Kelsey said, are a terrific resource, or even interactors. My youngest daughter is an interactor, and she can put together a complete 3-minute video with edits chopped up and background music, all on her iPhone. And it's incredible what you can do just on a phone nowadays, editing video with something like iMovie that comes standard on most phones. So find those resources in your club, in your district, and certainly take advantage of them.
Absolutely. And Rotary International provides us with a lot of resources as well. With the People of Action campaign, there's videos that you have access to. And so we're actually going to show you one of those quick clips.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of these videos are available up on the Rotary website, or I think there's also a Rotary channel on Vimeo. And I know a number of Rotary clubs and districts that, a lot of the stuff is high quality video, big files that can be shared with TV stations or movie theaters to show pre-roll before a movie. A lot of times cable companies will have that time, those little shards of time that they can't sell. And if you have even a small media budget in your district or in your club, you can actually promote Rotary using some of these videos in your area.
Absolutely. We're trying to come up with some ideas of what you could use these videos for.
I'm sorry, Kelsey, I think somebody needs to mute their microphone. I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Aha, is that better?
There you go. All right, yeah, that's
okay,
good.
There's one that wasn't muted.
Yeah.
Okay, so looking at video ideas, what you can use for videos, so you can do announcements to either the community or to your club. You can do event invitations, post-event news, so talking about the impact that your event has made to your community. You can do Rotary stories. I've seen promotional videos for like a club or an event, maybe come to a meeting kind of video. And I really like when you have events, aggregating all of the video clips and pictures from your event attendees. And you can do that by using a hashtag. And then you can kind of compile all of that information and put it into one awesome video that showcases how your event took place. I love that. In my past, I've actually done training for Rotarians. So we did a fireside chat, but we went through and did a video, had these people watch a video first prior to coming to our fireside chat. And then they had something at the very end that they were supposed to do when they came so that we know they watched the video. It's pretty funny. Got a few people.
4-way test.
Yeah, right? But so I really like that. And I love doing, too, the interview kind of styles. I've seen some district governors doing this and having people ask them questions on like a Facebook Live kind of video. And now Facebook Live can do dual, so you can have two people go live at the same time, which is really cool. So that's a fun kind of interview way. A lot of service projects, you can definitely incorporate video into that. We'll showcase a few later, but there's like a hyperlapse or a time-lapse video, and that's something that's really unique and really fun. And then also you can do video blogs. So having a vlog of your newsletter or anything like that is also really fun. But we're going to showcase a few videos that people took that are impactful and are helpful, but they're super easy to put together.
Yeah, and real quick, Kelsey, back to your idea around interviewing people and using it for events. I know I saw a conference, and I think some other conferences are doing this now. I saw one where they had what they called their blast crew, and it was the Broadcasting Live All-Star team. And they were using Facebook Live, and they were going around during the conference interviewing folks and broadcasting it up on Facebook Live, asking them what they thought about the event, and asking them about their Rotary story, and what some of the speakers, what they thought about the speakers. So really leverage video and the interview format with all of your events. Especially, it's kind of cool to interview people that aren't Rotarians, and get their thoughts, and and see their interest in Rotary, and how they've learned a lot about Rotary through the experience. So definitely use that interview format, and even broadcasting live through those events to make an impact.
That's great.
Here's an example of like you said, of a video that, again, it's just a phone in someone's backyard at a Rotary event. I can provide a little bit of context for this one before we start. This is a fellow named Clayton Riley. Clayton is 93 years old. He'll tell you he's 93. That's one of the first things he'll tell you. But Clayton has been a Rotarian for about, I would say, about 50 years. And I asked Clayton to tell me his Rotary story, and why he was a Rotarian and what Rotary meant to him at a club function. And the story that he told was pretty amazing, pretty impactful, and really resonates with many people when they ask, what is Rotary? This is a pretty powerful story.
What Polio Plus means to me. When I was a youngster, I went to YMCA camp up in Cleveland, and had the great time. I had to work my way selling soap to get to go to camp. But what I'm trying to say is, one of the boys that was in the camp, he was the most popular boy in the camp. And 2 weeks after he got back from camp, he died of polio. It's unbelievable. And so at time back in the early 40s, everyone was scared of getting polio. I came from northern Ohio, Cleveland, and so I think what we're doing in Rotary right now is so great when we're just this close to covering the whole world from polio. So this makes my 7th time as a Paul Harris Fellow, and I'm so glad I can do it. I'm 90 now, and I got one more child, Jim. I hope I live long enough so that he can get Paul Harris Fellowship. Nice to see you, old stick in the mud.
I love that. He's a character. Clayton was an old vacuum salesman, and just a great guy, and has a really great story about why he's a Rotarian. A story that really resonates with people when they hear that story, and they understand why it is that we do what we do with the End Polio Now campaign.
One thing I love so much about this video is you really kind of get to know him in his story, and you get to know his personality at the end too, which I think that's probably one of my favorite parts of this video, just because it's so amazing. And I get to the end of the video and I'm like, man, I'd really love to be friends with that guy. He seems really cool. So that's definitely something to make sure that you incorporate into your videos. Incorporate your personality and share your experiences, because that really does draw on the emotion of other people.
Absolutely. Now this next one is an example of when I was a district governor-elect, and was trying to rally all of the president-elects to attend PETS, and was at a PETS planning meeting. And George Robertson Burnett, I asked him if he would record a promotion for me to encourage everyone to come to PETS. And George is such a great guy with a great personality, like you said, Kelsey, and just he's fun to listen to as well. And so I felt like this would be a really cool video to show at all my pre-PETS training sessions. And so here we go. Let's take a listen to this.
At some So here's the news. There's a fantastic event going on in March for all you President-elects. You will have the most fabulous time, the most wonderful fellowship, and incidentally, learn a lot. This is your big chance to get your year off to a fantastic start. So sign up now, get on, and register for PETS.
Yeah, so we used that on a bunch of social media channels, and it was effective. You know, we embedded it in some emails, and anytime that you can get someone like that maybe has, you know, maybe people are familiar or recognize them, and get them to do a video like that, it's really helpful. I had President-elect John Germ. He was president-elect at the time, and then he was president. But did a video for me encouraging folks to go to Atlanta to the International Convention. So a lot of Rotarians got a personal invitation from John Germ to go to Atlanta for the Centennial Celebration. Again, just pulled out the phone, asked John to record a quick promotion for me, and put it up on some social media channels. And it's just that easy. And it's, you know, a person making a personal invitation to folks to attend something. And again, that personality, that personal connection comes through the video. It's a lot more impactful than maybe, you know, writing an email saying, "Hey, I wish you'd go to this event."
Absolutely. So when you're at events, some of the things that you can be doing with social media, first and foremost, is utilizing your public image team. Hopefully all of your clubs and all of your districts have a public image team, or at least one person that's in charge of public image. So thinking of it like a social media command center. So like this one that's pictured here. This is obviously kind of the extreme, but
yeah, that's way over my budget.
This is, yeah, definitely the extreme. But think of it as maybe just as simple as a table that you guys are giving out information about Rotary at an event. I know I've personally seen that. We've put on some events and you got a little table that has some kind of brochures and stuff, inviting people, telling them what it is. That's a perfect place to designate as a media command center. As Marshall mentioned earlier, having people walk around and interview, that's a brilliant idea. It gives you an opportunity to kind of showcase the experiences of the people that are attending your event, or even the people that are participating in your project. One or a couple things to kind of keep in mind: make sure you check your Wi-Fi connections before the day of. So that way, if it is like a big event, you make sure that you have access to the internet and that kind of stuff. Make sure to have all of your login credentials for your social media networks, and have your sponsors. If it's an event and you have sponsors and kind of other relevant sources on their social media pages as well. Make sure that you guys are kind of working back and forth so you can share their things. So let's say you have an event and you have several sponsors. I'm sure if they're at your event, they'll be posting about it. So make sure you're also sharing what they post. So repurposing user-generated content, that's a big trend right now. And if you think about it, people that tag your event or that use your hashtag, you then can see all of their content. So you can make sure that you're using that. One thing I will say is make sure not to tag unofficial or parody accounts. Sometimes that can kind of go both ways. So I just kind of steer clear of that one. But generating content that other people have shared is a great way to drive and reach more people and have more engagement. Just be aware and look for those kind of hidden gems that may lie within that content posted by people that are attending your event. Because you may have somebody that's had a really incredible experience that shares it on their pages. So that's kind of why you want to look through those things. And when other people, just attendees, convey your message, sometimes and often it makes a bigger impact on others, you know, like a spouse giving his or her opinion versus your friend. You want to make sure that you have both sets, kind of both views of your event.
Absolutely. And a lot of times there's going to be some influencers in those groups, people that have really extensive social networks. Or as Kelsey mentioned, sometimes with the sponsors there, they're going to take that content and put it on their official page, which might have an extensive social following or social reach. And with that, you just amplified your reach by having one of those influencers or one of those sponsors sharing the content on their page. And you just immediately supercharged the number of people that are going to have access to your event or to learn more about your project or what your club is doing in the community.
Absolutely. And I will say too, make sure you're looking at feedback, especially during larger events. People will always share their feedback on social media. So if you have positive feedback, share it. And if you have negative feedback, make sure you address it right away. I've actually been to an event where people said, oh, well, there's no more parking. Well, we had a whole nother parking lot and people just weren't going to it. So somebody posted that, and it was something that we were able to fix kind of right away. Oftentimes you can't fix, some of the negative feedbacks, but it's good to always address it and make sure, that you are focusing on their experiences and those kind of things, because that really does impact it. But that's kind of the key highlights that we have for your social media hub. And making sure that you're utilizing like live streams and videos and interview styles, like what Marshall said before. Make sure you're kind of utilizing those during your events.
And hashtags.
And hashtags, for sure.
Yep.
There's a whole separate session on hashtags if you ever want to learn about it.
That's right.
So a couple different types. What'd you say?
I was going to say types of video.
Types of videos, a couple different types. The time lapse is one of my favorite. That's a really awesome way to kind of showcase a project. A time lapse, essentially, you start the video and it seems like it's like a button that you push on an iPhone. There's a specific tool for it, but really you're taking a video, but it's going so fast once your finished product is done. So you can really showcase, building an entire house in like 10 minutes. I mean, it's really incredible what that can do. We've talked a little bit about live streams. The image slideshows I have found to be very helpful for like the end of year reviews. My year as president, we did this, and I put some music and kind of showcased everything that we did throughout the year. So that's kind of a cool tool. The boomerang video, that's the video that's to the right. That's our public image team. And it's just like a quick, 3-second video that kind of showcases one action or movement. The 360 experience videos are really cool. You might have seen those come down from Rotary International. I know they do those a lot at the conventions. And then, as we've mentioned before, definitely the interviews.
All right. I think we got an example of a time lapse coming up.
We do.
There we go. So so this was a bicycle ride that the Rotary Club of Green Cove Springs put on a couple of years ago, and someone put a camera on the front of the bicycle and did some riding and sped it up, and then used this video for a future event, the Rotary Ride to End Polio, that is held in Tucson, Arizona. So it's just a GoPro on a mount on a pair of handlebars, and then within GoPro you can speed up the video and then just repurpose the content for a couple of other uses. So as Kelsey mentioned, other great ideas are if you are building a playground or a park or something where you can actually see something coming up out of the ground, or something like, or setting up an area for, some sort of a festival, watching the tents come up, or, all the things, just sticking a camera on a tripod, or hanging it from a pole somewhere in one corner of the area, and just watching the progress. And this stuff is really, I guess it's sticky, kind of puts hooks in people. People love to watch stuff happening. And there's a whole show dedicated to watching things get made. People just like to see things, sequentially happening. And so I think this type of video, it can be very sticky if someone's scrolling through a Facebook feed or an Instagram feed, and they see something like that, like a playground coming up out of the ground. It certainly catches the attention of folks. So it's a little bit of a change up from maybe a person talking to a camera, but it certainly is very impactful. And like Kelsey said, at the end of the year, it's great because you can then embed that or use that as part of your end of the year recap to say, hey, remember, we did this. And I tell you, that's something that is very important for Rotary clubs and districts, is to remind people the things that we accomplish in our clubs and our districts. And this kind of crosses the line between public image and membership. But one of the key indicators that we find with people staying in Rotary is when we can tell that they take pride in their club or what their club is doing, or in Rotary. And if we can reinforce using these videos, this is what you accomplished this year, this is what you guys did, that certainly reinforces that pride in their club and ensures that they're going to stay in the club because of that feeling of accomplishment for what they did in their community.
Absolutely. Just a reminder too, if you guys have any questions, feel free to just type them in the chat. You can send them to myself, Marshall, the whole group, whatever works, but don't forget to type those in the chat. Looking up, some applications that are really cool. I personally love iMovie. I'm kind of like an Apple fanatic, so I always use iMovie for things. But Viva Video, the Adobe Premiere Clips, Filmora Go, and Quick, those are all really great tools. Some of them are free. You can get them on your iPhone. Actually, I think most of those are free. I know Viva Video has some like ads or whatever that you could get rid of, but as long as you don't click on the ads, you're good. It's free. But those are all really kind of great tools, and they'll give you things to work with. So they'll give you some like storyboards and music and stuff that you can pull from. And then you can also download your own and kind of add to it from there.
Yeah, pretty much. If you just go to your, your phone's app store and type video, immediately you'll get just a bunch of returns, and you can take a look at the reviews and stuff like that. Or go find your nearest teenager or college student and ask what they're using. That's another great way to do it. That's what I've done that with my daughters. Ask them what the latest video tools are, and they always have some pretty good recommendations and stuff that I hadn't even heard of yet. It's pretty amazing. Absolutely. All right.
So in the next slide, this is our Zone Public Image website. This is where you guys can go and you can share your stories, but there's also a lot of stories that you can use and helpful sources here. And we'll share this story here.
Uh-oh.
Hi.
Oh, there we go.
Hi, my name is Kelsey Mitchell, and this is my Rotary story. I have been a part of the Rotary family for just about 5 years. I started in Rotaract in Naples, Florida, District 6960, and then I moved into Rotary in District 6960, Fort Myers, Sunset, and I am now a member of the Rome Rotary Club in Rome, Georgia. I originally started in Rotaract. I was the vice president of my Rotaract club, and then when it became time for me to join Rotary, I looked at several different clubs, but I couldn't really figure out where I fit in. So I reached out to my district governor and I asked for help. She simply said, "Why don't you charter your own club?" I was very excited, but also very nervous about this opportunity, but I took the wheel and I said I'd absolutely love to. So I moved into starting a club of young professionals. A lot of them were new Rotarians, and we didn't really know kind of what we were doing, but we had the experience of our sponsor club to help us. So my first year as a Rotarian, I was the Satellite Club Committee Chair. I then moved into a charter president of the Fort Myers Sunset Club. During our first 2 years as a new chartered club, we did 30 projects. It was absolutely incredible what our small club could do in our community and across the world. We did everything from a maternity and child health global grant in Uganda to building free little libraries in our own community, making blankets for foster children, and doing mobile pantries for those in need. After a few years in Rotary, my district governor asked me to take on a leadership position. I was very excited about this opportunity. There were a lot of Rotarians that really encouraged me and came alongside me to help me with this role. There were also some Rotarians that weren't super excited about me taking on this role. They thought because of my age, I was inexperienced and I didn't have the leadership qualities that were needed for these positions. They also just didn't really respect me because I was young. I had everything from Rotarians telling me I wasn't qualified for the job, to Rotarians pinching my cheek and telling me they were so glad I could leave high school to come to be with them. So many different examples of things, but it is just one of the stories that I use to encourage me to move forward in Rotary. It's a year that I learned the sense of Rotary family, because the people that came alongside me supported me through those challenges and encouraged me to continue to move forward in my dreams and in the things and the passions that I had that I could do and be supported by Rotary. Why do I stay in Rotary? Rotary gave me an avenue to do all of the things that I am very passionate about. I've always been very passionate about children and helping those children in my community. Through Rotary, I'm able to support foster families, safe families for children, all different kinds of organizations that I wouldn't necessarily be able to do outside of Rotary. Rotary also gave me an opportunity to serve in my community. Just this last year, in 2017, Hurricane Irma devastated my hometown and my community. That was something that I will never forget. Rotary was able to give me an avenue to go out and help those people in my community every day until we could rebuild their lives. During that time, Rotary also completely changed my own life personally. Not only was I able to serve my community, but I was able to meet my new husband, and I was able to get a family. So through that very first day of working in one of those neighborhoods, I met my husband, and I met my 2 future children. And I could not attribute that to anything other than Rotary and how Rotary is a family, but it also has the opportunity to provide you with a family. As a mother of 3 young children, my involvement in Rotary is definitely a family affair. I can tell you, my daughter, Audrey, she has learned so much through my experience in Rotary. She even had one of her birthday parties be a fundraiser for kids at Safe Families for Children. It has been something that has impacted my children's lives in addition to my own. So the most important thing for me now is leaving my Rotary legacy and continuing that on through my children. I am so eager and so excited to teach my children about Rotary, teach them about Rotakids and Interact and Rotaract eventually, and then Rotary. I want them to be able to continue on in my legacy, as well as my mother's legacy, which I continued. I want them to be able to do that, and I want them to share their love for serving others and their love for the community and international. I want them to be able to share that with everybody that they need as well. So I am so honored to be a part of Rotary, and I'm so honored that my children will be a part of Rotary. So this is my personal story, and I think it's important to share. I know a lot of people kind of have had some similar experiences to me, and then a lot of people have had some very different experiences. But I think making sure that you do share your stories is important, because you never know who's going to relate to you and who's going to maybe be going, like for me, I went through some very difficult times in the beginning. And I think there were several people who kind of shared their experiences with me, and that kind of motivated me and helped me move forward and continue. So I think it's important to make sure that you share that and use your resources to help you kind of get inspired to do this. This video I just took on my phone. I used iMovie to create it. I think it took me about an hour, probably about 30 minutes to like write out what I wanted to say, and then 30 minutes to actually record it. And then I put kind of the pictures and the music and the stuff in there. But from my perspective, I think it's important to make sure that Rotarians are sharing their story. And even if you're not doing it in a video, somehow sharing it with your club members and other people, because I think that really is what, for me, what it's about. It's about the friendships and things that I've made. And this really just kind of showcases that for me. But on this website, the Zone Public Image site, we do have tons of videos for you to choose from and look at and review. You can share those videos. You can, watch them for inspiration. But really, it's a bunch of resources that you have to kind of understand and share your story.
Yeah, that was a great job, Kelsey. That was a very powerful video, and nicely done. And I mean, yeah, just it's just that easy. Just telling folks, why you do what you do. What is it that causes you to want to give back to your community and teach that to the future generations. When we think about our logo this year and our theme, be the inspiration, being the inspiration is a big part of being the inspiration to the next generation of Rotarians, whether they're interactors, Rotaractors, or even younger than that. So that's a very nice video.
I will say though, just a tip, make it a little bit shorter. If I could do it again, that's the one thing I would change. I would make it shorter because, this video, I ended up sharing it on YouTube, but I didn't really share it on, Facebook or anything because it was just a little bit too long. So that is a tip that I would definitely add in there.
Yeah, but the other thing is you can probably chop that up into little 30-second bits, of the different parts of your story. And I mean, you got the part about the legacy and your children. You got the part about helping in your hometown. So there's great ways to create long form video and then use parts of it for short form. So it's very, very flexible in that regard.
Absolutely. One of the things I wanted to mention, I don't have a slide in here for this, but there is a video that I've actually recently seen, kind of again. I guess I saw it a long time ago and then I saw it again and it just kind of sparked my memory. But there's a video about what is Rotary. And I feel like that's a really powerful and impactful video. And it's kind of a funny one because they go around and ask people, random people on the street, what is Rotary? And so you'll get some silly answers. And I find personally that people are surprised when I tell them I'm in Rotary. And they're like, oh, really? My grandfather's in Rotary or my dad's in Rotary. And, they'll say stuff like that to me all the time. I'm like, oh, well, yeah, I'm probably friends with them. Like, I'm in Rotary too. I love it. And that's something that I think is really kind of an interesting take. And I think with video, that's a really powerful thing that we can showcase, because a lot of what it is now to kind of get some younger members into your club, which I know a lot of people are interested in doing, video is where it's at. And if you can showcase what Rotary is and why it's fun and why people should join you, that's going to be your ticket in my perspective, at least. I think people a lot of times just don't understand what Rotary is. They don't really know everything that we do, and they don't really know how much fun we have doing it. And if you can showcase that in your videos, I definitely think you've got a winner.
I think so. I think, yeah, people definitely want to be a part of something successful.
Thank you is usually defined as a conversational expression of gratitude.
That's my Alexa. She heard me say something. No, but they want to be a part of something successful. And if we can demonstrate what we're doing in our communities through video, I think, again, it resonates with people and they want to be a part of it.
Absolutely. So Marshall, did you have anything else before we move on to questions?
No, there we go. Questions.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and unmute. If you guys want to just kind of ask questions, or if you have any questions, you can send them through chat as well. But I'll go ahead and unmute you. So if you have a question, feel free to ask.
There are no by deep freezer.
Restaurant.
All right.
Who buy deep freeze? Your father?
Oops.
Oh, look how slow. Control the deep freezer there.
Oops.
Well, does anybody have any questions before we let you guys go?
That did that.
No. No. Michael here from Port Royal, 7020.
Oh, okay.
Oh, welcome.
I've been having a challenge to upload my club activity on the share drive, project drive. I'm not sure. Do I need permission? Because when I was president, I used to do it for myself. And I'm now public image chair and PR, and I'm finding that challenge in sharing the projects that we have.
So that's the Rotary Projects website?
Right.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that, you might, I know there's a function within the Rotary website where like a president or a district officer can delegate access. You might ask your president to delegate the access to you for Rotary Projects. If that doesn't work, the best backup is always contacting the folks up in Evanston with club and district support. That's Marnie and Alicia, and they can always point you to the right resource and make sure that they always will get an answer for you. So first I would check with the club president or someone in the district that might have access and can delegate that access to you. And then second would be to contact the club and district support folks in Evanston.
Right. Good evening, Marshall. How are you? This is Amarilis.
Hey.
How are you doing?
Terrific. How are you?
I'm doing great. Michael, we have a Rotary Business Online chair, and you should have gotten those positions, and they are on the district website. And I suppose that you're not talking about projects. You must be talking about ideas.rotary.org.
That's right.
right? Okay, so really, I will check up your access myself, but you really don't need any access upgrading to get there. So if you cannot do it, your secretary or the foundation chair can do it, but you should be able to. So I'll check it up myself and I'll get back to you.
Thanks, Amaryllis.
Okay.
Appreciate
You're
that.
very welcome.
Are there any other questions, or is there any other ideas that you guys have for our webinar series? You know, we have been doing this for about 3 months now. Are there any topics that you guys would like to see us do? Any questions that maybe we can help and do a presentation on for you?
What I would like to know is I think this is normally done on a Tuesday, if my memory serves me correctly. My club has meeting on a Monday, and I would like to schedule something like this for a part of our meeting. How can that be arranged?
Oh yeah, no, sure. Reach out to us, and we'll certainly we'll be your program for you if you like. We love helping clubs.
Absolutely. And to
Okay.
all of these presentations that we do are available online to that website, our Zone Public Image website as well. So you will have the ability to review these as well if there's one that you really like that you want to share with your club. But you know, as Marshall said, our entire public image team absolutely loves to go to clubs and to do presentations for you. So please ask us. We really would like to.
Well, that's
Yeah.
it. And you know, thinking about this topic, we want to see your videos too. So make
Okay.
sure when you create videos, any sort of content that you're creating out there in the zone, please share it with us on Facebook or social media or the myrotarystory.org website, so that we can share it, because you know we learn from each other, and it's very powerful to see what other clubs are doing and what's working, and leverage it for ourselves. So you know, let's see those videos.
Okay.
Marshall,
So I'll contact you guys because I would want to have it live so they can interact.
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And Marshall, don't we have a video contest coming up?
I do. I'll have to defer to. I'll have to get those details from Sheila. I know she's putting together a brochure on that, but we do have an annual video contest in the zone, and it always produces some really great results. And again, it's great to see what the clubs and districts are doing in Zone 34 with video.
So with that, if anybody has anything else, let us know. Any other topics? But we appreciate you taking the time.
Absolutely, and look forward to catching up with you all at the next webinar. So everyone, have a great evening, and look forward to speaking with you again soon.
All right, thank you guys.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you.